Hey everybody, no rest for the wicked and all that. Once again, as usual, tell me sound, picture, is everything working? Now that Oli is in charge of these things, I assume everything is working, but it never hurts to ask. We're one day away from what now is apparent is the main event, so can't wait, honestly. It will be a very difficult day for us. It will be a long day and a trying day, but also a very, very exciting one. And there will be the announced Banter death match with Sasha playing, we think, 4 against me and 4 against Anish in some fashion. I'm also considering doing something from our side, perhaps, also a semi-banter session from here, or we could sit here and kind of kibitz. When I'm playing, maybe Anish can, say snarky things at me, and when Anish starts playing, maybe I can criticize his play, or we'll figure something out. Or maybe we'll just play 8 games of chess and keep absolutely silent throughout the entire thing. But something will definitely happen. And for now, this will be a shortish session. I'm really on my last legs here. Can't really do a long one, but we'll go about 90 minutes-ish and see from there. And let's start playing then. And also, I am eagerly awaiting the arrival of Mr. Dodgy. I so far have not seen a single message from him in chat, and he promised me war, basically, and I am very much looking forward to that. I haven't been in a verbal duel in a while. I think you're supposed to actually play c4 now, and maybe it's a mistake to go knight fd7 with the pawn still on c2, because now white can switch to those King's Indian positions. Well, not exactly King's Indian, but King's Indian-ish. I'm not sure about this though, because I think he managed to position his pieces in such a way that Queen f6 will be very, very awkward for him. Or maybe not, because I'm trying to figure this out, and I'm now less enamored with my ideas. Because Queen f6, he can go knight c3, Queen takes d4, and knight d5, either immediately or after taking on d4. And my pawn on c7 is actually very weak in that line. But if I don't do it, I'm just slightly worse. So I think I have to go for it. And hope it somehow works out for me. Yeah, I have a very, very tumultuous relationship with the London. He generally doesn't agree with me. Yeah, Queen c2 is just like, you really need to be playing 95 in this position, because giving me a move to finish development makes my life immeasurably simpler. For instance, I can now maybe make this move. We value your life, says the real Slim Chuck Norris, the man who absolutely owned me in the previous banter. So I will honor his words and try not to kill myself doing something every day. But yeah, I mean, if we're entirely honest here, the reason I'm doing this today is that I quite seriously try not to miss a single day of gym when I'm in Hamburg. I've actually completely misplayed this. Queen d2 is just equal now. I wonder why he didn't play Queen d2 in this position. I mean, if you can win the g6 pawn back, you should be doing that. And the gym I go to is 500 meters away from the office, so it whoops, I win material by doing this and not allowing knight g3 check. I mean, if I go d5 check immediately, there's knight g3, and this way I just win a piece. Ah, now queen e4, queen e5. Yeah, that's... I mean, that probably is still correct, but I thought I win on... Yeah, queen e4, queen e5 would lose fewer pieces. I'm still winning in that endgame, but it wins fewer pieces. So yeah, I thought I shouldn't miss gym today, and if I'm going to the gym, I'm basically in the neighborhood anyway with nothing to do, so I might as well just pop in, play some chess, hopefully entertain some people. Yeah, I have no idea about any of this. Like, none whatsoever. I think I did maybe 5 of those passion, because I'm not actually premium on chess.com. I'm a pleb, and as a pleb there's a cap on how many I can do. And I couldn't break 44, which was very annoying. I don't think if e4 is even correct, because he will go castles, knight e8 and f5, and I think he'll be perfectly fine. Starting with h5 also makes some sense, although, like, if I were him, I would not play h4 here. Yeah, I think this is now a mistake, because... maybe not, yeah, I forgot the g6. Yeah, this is not a mistake. Disregard everything I said. Yeah, this has not been played well by me. I might still be okay-ish, but yeah, this has not been at all well played by me. I mean, I can play queen c3, but he will still be in time to go castles, knight d7, knight e5, and I'm objectively just worse. Yeah, I think my reaction to h5 was just abysmal. Abysmal would be a good way to describe it. Yeah, it could very well be in his book. I'm not arguing. It's just like I don't really, I don't mean this in any kind of disrespectful way, but I don't really care about not knowing what's in his book. What I do care about is making mistakes which are avoidable simply using common sense, and that one was most assuredly very avoidable using common sense. But yeah, I'm not the world's biggest Bogo expert, and it is a lot trickier than you would think, this opening. I am still sort of fine, because I will fight for the c-file and the bishop will come out via f1, d3. I should never be better in this position. I don't really see how I can ever play for anything apart from equality. But I shouldn't be worse subjectively, I think. As long as I sort of pay attention to what's happening on the board. Yeah, I have no doubt it's a good book. It's just that this is a 5-minute blitz game, not even a 3-minute blitz game, so there's absolutely no reason to sort of ignore basic positional principles, which is what I basically did there. And I mean, he should be doing exactly what he's doing here. Just swap everything down. And with a pawn on f6, I mean, we can sort of continue here, but really this position is very, very risk-free for him. Should go queen d. I mean, maybe he misplaced his pieces here a little bit, but objectively, even this, I really don't expect to be able to pose a single problem. Normally, of course, you shouldn't be putting your pawns on the light squares here, but because I'm in control of the c-file, I think I can do whatever I please. I'm not going to be worse, but as mentioned, I'm never ever going to be better either. It's just not happening. I'm mainly debating the merits of a draw over here, because I think we're kind of taking away time from potentially more blitz games. And that seems less than ideal, but yeah, I don't know if I agree with this decision, to be honest. But the position is so locked down that I don't think it matters, frankly. Yeah, I think that's a good point. Yeah, and there's just no way in. Yeah, I probably was objectively worse at some point, but it's difficult for black to do very much. And as for me, I just completely forgot the knight from e7 can go to g6. I was so fixated on, as mentioned, ideas of castles followed by knight e8, f7, f5 that I thought, okay, we include h5, h3, and all those plans become worse. And if he goes h4, g4, I thought, okay, I will now be able to go knight f1, knight e3, knight f5. And he really doesn't have good squares for his pieces, which could not be further from the truth after knight g6, clearly. So yeah, very, very reasonable play by him. He maybe could have pushed me slightly harder somewhere here, but maybe not. Maybe it's just equal. I don't think it was that passive. I think your position is extremely sound, but it's very difficult to make progress because of just of how much stuff gets traded off. I don't think you have anything to regret there, Christoph. Yeah. I should at some point actually figure out what I'm supposed to do against knight f3, e6, b3, because if not in practical play, then definitely on chess 24. I see this position so often that it kind of pays to actually have a repertoire against it. And I had a feeling this is exactly why I shouldn't be doing what I'm doing, but I was basically too lazy to check. And now I realize that after bishop e7, he is not forced to take on d7. He will play bishop b2, and protecting the g7 pawn is extremely difficult. And also, I mean, obviously this is all theory, so like me now trying to explain all these things to you is ever so slightly ridiculous. I'm now looking at some pawn sacrifices just to spice it up a little bit, but I have a feeling they just don't work. It's just that I really hate the idea of going queen e7. It's probably not horrible, but I just really, really dislike it on principle. But I also dislike on principle the idea of losing the game by force, so I will go queen e7. What do I do in the gym? I do... well... yeah, yeah, I was wondering about that, because it felt like it shouldn't work, but now I think maybe it does. Maybe he can castle here, because like if he doesn't castle, I'm probably okay, but castles might actually work. And then I might be in a lot of trouble. Like I've had some back issues my entire life, so there's a number of things I cannot do in the gym. But apart from those, I do most stuff. Like I don't do squats with weights, and I don't do what are they called? Deadlifts, because of disc issues. And now I think he is more or less forced to take on c6 and take on e7, and I should be okay-ish. If I take on e5 instead of a6 here, he goes queen takes b7, and kind of all of my stuff is hanging, and I didn't really feel like I should be checking whether I lose by force there. Here at least I should... Whoa, okay. This is kind of very optimistic, no? If this works, I will be, well, extremely impressed, and also honestly extremely surprised, because it just doesn't seem like this should be working. Why didn't you say I was forced to take 2 seconds before, says Chuck to me in chat. Yeah. That was a dirty trick by me, not telling you what to play. I apologize. Yeah, king d7, knight a4 is slightly awkward, so I'll go king d8. But yeah, I am now basically a full piece up for, well, not very much. Queens are also off the table. So yeah, I think he is supposed to go knight c6, knight e7. Bishop e7, knight c3 is a bit risky, because after bishop f6 there is knight b5 or knight d5, I don't know, with forks. So I thought I will take with the knight in order to have after knight c3 the move b5, b4. And this position did not seem very dangerous to me. But honestly, I have no idea what is supposed to happen after queen e2, queen e7. I expect white is just supposed to take and play some kind of a slightly better endgame. Still looking for a challenge from Chess Beauty, because I promised her a game in my next normal banter after the really stupid game I played against her in the Hand and Brain challenge. But on that subject, let's continue playing people with musical nicknames. Because you want some beauty. That as well, I suppose, but mainly because I feel I owe her a chess game. What happened in that banter was not a chess game by any normal definition of the word. I'm kind of pushing it a little bit here, because I am sort of allowing e4, e5 in order to sort of wait for c3, and now I'm planning to do this. But I've been doing this setup against the knight of 3, 6, d3 for a while, or at least I've been kind of trying it out. I think it's possible to play like this, sort of postponing d7, d5, and playing d5 in some positions and e6, e5 in some others, but I am not entirely sure how objectively good it is. And also hello to Paloga and Phoenix89 and everybody. Yeah, and this is kind of annoying. I wanted to go bishop b6, and maybe I actually should have, but I have this kind of compulsion to only play bishop b6 once the bishop, like once the pawn is on h6, so that I never have to calculate knight g5. What type of work exercises would you recommend to get better at blitz specifically? Well, definitely tactical training, but also I think to get better at blitz you need to play a ton of blitz. I think with blitz in particular, you know, the old adage that, you know, practice practice does make perfect, I think. Isn't it like an excellent Spanish of sorts? Yeah, I don't know how excellent it is, but yeah, we're aiming for something like a Briar type position, but our pawn is not on g5. I mean, sorry, not on b5 here, which, you know, you can count as an advantage, although I will be playing b7, b5 later if I find a comfortable spot to do it. But yeah, it does seem like this shouldn't be bad for black at all. The issue with playing b5 here is that it might allow white to simplify maybe later down the road, but I think the king in the north demands a game. Yeah. I am still kind of very, very regretful regarding the somewhat botched joke. I mean, you set it up so perfectly, Jon Snow, during the... Where'd it go? Did someone delete that? Why would someone delete that? It was there a second ago. Okay, mods, own up. Who deleted the message from Jon Snow? And why? That is very, very confusing. Don't do that. That was a perfectly polite message. I mean, mods, come on. That wasn't begging, that was demanding. Surely there's a difference between begging and demanding. And what I'm doing here is probably completely incorrect. I now realized a tactical reason for potential very, very serious problems with what I'm doing. And I probably will have to show it after the game, because I have a feeling it probably will not happen on the board. Ah, semantics, says Fuchsia. Yeah. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of semantics of all kinds. But yeah, I really feel like I shouldn't have botched it yesterday, because that was such a perfect setup with you saying why are all of your references so obscure, and yeah, I don't know if you did that on purpose, but that was maybe the most ideal setup for a joke I've ever seen in chat, and I managed to kind of do it wrong regardless. And I shouldn't have. Oh, well played then. I mean, I didn't know for sure, but if it was actually on purpose, yeah, well played to you. Because, yeah, generally you have to work on this type of, you know, tag team jokes. This is actually not great, not as great for me as I thought, because the pawn on d3 will be picked up. Yeah, I don't think this is correct. He could have just taken on e5. I think with the bishop is probably stronger. And then something like rook e d1, bishop f1, and the pawn on d3 will fall. And now I can pick up on h3 if there's nothing better. I can also go rook c8. Like, this is a lot better for me than it needed to be. Yeah, I'll go rook c8 for now. I wonder what is Peter drinking now. This. Peter is drinking what is everybody else is drinking in this office. Magnus water. Yeah, I'm not the right person to ask, in particular if the choice is those two books, Chess Pagol, because they wouldn't be on my list. Not because I think they're bad, but because I, for instance, have not read Nan's book. Yeah, I think with regret I'm kind of forced to pick up on h3 here. Yeah, but what's in the bottle? That's an old trick. Yeah, I know this from Zale's stream. Zale basically is drinking what I assume. I mean, he jokes about it, but I am still pretty sure it's water from a 1 liter bottle of Sky vodka with the word vodka. Basically, he put a sticker on the word vodka there and replaced it with a handwritten sign saying water. And people obviously choose to disbelieve him all the time. But I'm pretty sure it is water. But does Magnus Water improve chess ability? Well, this is what I'm going. I mean, clearly this is what I'm shooting for. Because I will actually take this because I think it gives me a... I mean, this passer is actually quite dangerous. Because I have Queen B2 in this position. What's better, seeing best games of past champions or solving tactics? Depending on what you want. Sort of increasing chess culture in general or increasing your tactical awareness. For tactical awareness, obviously, training those specific muscles is better. But I would recommend you do both. Yeah, exactly. The Big Bad Wolf knows what's right. There's really no reason for you to limit yourself to only one of those two things. Your take on Alpha Zero not finding mate in 36 for Caruana, asks QZL. It's interesting, but really not that interesting for me. Clearly the machine works. I mean, it's not necessarily like I'm not an AI specialist of any kind, and obviously it works slightly differently to brute force table-based machines. I assume that are, let's say, running on Sese. I mean, so the operating principles of Stockfish and Alpha Zero are very different. But I honestly have no explanation. But at the same time, I don't think it matters a great deal because Alpha Zero is still an incredibly exciting, incredibly interesting project, and things it does in, let's say, in the opening / early middle game phases of the game is extremely exciting. So if it occasionally misses some things it really isn't supposed to miss, being a machine, it doesn't really diminish it in my eyes. Is there also a banter with Sasha and Anish today? Not to my knowledge, no. I think Sopiko has done one now, and I'm doing this for another hour-ish, and then you will be left to fend on your own for a day. Or maybe there is something planned, but not from our crack commentary team. Is there a possibility that computers show humans the way out of draws? I think it's unlikely, because I think the starting position is probably very close to equal with perfect play. So I think improvements in machine understanding will only... I mean, I think they're likelier to give you a better understanding of how to make the draw and not how to avoid the draw. But once again, I am not sure. Clearly, I mean, Alpha Zero in particular is a very, very exciting thing, and the games we've seen in the match against Stockfish are sort of like the old masters, just better. And that shows that there is still, it's still possible to play in this seemingly very speculative style and have success against extremely strong opposition, which, I mean, Stockfish obviously is. You know that this is a bad draw when even the draw king criticizes it. Yeah, I mean, all the Anish draw jokes, they are. I mean, the genre is honestly rather stale because, and frankly, somewhat disrespectful to Anish because I think it may have been true at some point, but I don't think it's true anymore that he is the draw king. His result in China notwithstanding. I think he's a very, very exciting player these days, and yeah. But I mean, for those of you who watched some of our earlier, let's say, broadcasts with Jan during, I don't know, Vaik, or even I think going as far back as the New York match against Karyakin, will recognize that I personally don't really subscribe to that narrative. Yeah, bishop g3 is a good move because I was kind of planning to go knight f4 against any kind of a normal move. And now it's a bit tricky for me because I would like knight d4 now is a very serious threat, and I would like to play c6, c5, but then he can take everything on d5 and go e6 in the final position there, which will be a problem. But maybe I can do it now. Yeah, I saw the Kasparov tweet. I think it's an overstatement. I don't think you know, the disposition before the start of the Rapid changed so dramatically. But yeah, I mean, there is something to what he's saying, clearly. There was a very, very strange draw for an extremely unlike Magnus. Magnus never really used to do that at all. He, you know, he built his name and reputation on continuing in what appears to be, you know, barely playable positions. And this is, you know, this is not a barely playable position. It's a position that is just objectively better for him, and with very, very little risk attached. I'm kind of hinting I will play bishop h6 next move. I don't know if that's an actual threat or just, you know, something to annoy my opponent, but annoy him it did. And now the game is suddenly over because knight takes e2 is a check, so he can never interpose rook takes d7. So I just win an entire rook here. And yeah, this is premium only, but the deals, at least for the time being, appear to be. I mean, the really dramatic Black Friday / Cyber Monday deals are off, but even with no deals on the table, I think going premium on Chess24 is something you should very seriously consider. I think it's a very, very decent amount of value for the money you have to pay. By the way, Anish is no longer the draw king. We have 2 new ones. Yeah, that's not unreasonable. I mean, it's kind of unreasonable, but also they are sort of inviting this on themselves. And I tried to pre-move 3 moves in a row here, and it kind of backfired badly. You are like, if you want to play this variation, and you probably shouldn't, you should be taking on c4 first and then going c5. And now I think if he goes cd5, queen d5, c4, and d5, I might just be completely lost. But that was basically a misclick. I have a feeling I will not be enjoying this game very much, but Me choosing this opening was a little bit of an inside joke of, between the two people sitting in the studio right now, because we spoke about this line with Oli a few days back, and I thought I'll give it a try. But yeah, it makes sense. If you're playing lines which are, as speculative as this one is, it kind of makes sense to at least not misplay them very, very badly by, not really knowing how pre-move works. You've got to play the King's Gambit by being sober this time, yeah. I might if the opportunity presents itself. I think I can do this, but honestly, I'm not even sure I'm better. I mean, I won a full central pawn, but I have a feeling I'm still not really fighting for advantage, because these bishops with the already somewhat ruined king's position, I probably should make sure I equalize first before we even start thinking about more. Yeah, I don't know if it's the economics of the things for S, honestly. I don't think the match would look extremely different if, let's say, it was, I don't know, a 70-30 split. Because, and I mean, I understand this will sound entitled and maybe even somewhat snobbish, but this really isn't life-changing money for either of them. They are playing for pride, and they are playing in the way that they feel will give them the best chance of winning. I think this is by far the most important consideration both of them have. Money really does not, I think, come into it very much. I'm not sure how I win, and if I win at all if he takes on b7. I do have an immediate draw with knight e2 check, knight g3, but I think I have actually nothing after king h1, g1. But also the point of knight e4 is, as you can see, it's possible to spook your opponent quite badly by making this move, because I don't think he needed to be worried about my jumps. How much will it tarnish Magnus's reputation by playing so cowardly as today? I think those are strong words. I don't think tarnish is the way to describe it, but it will be remembered. I don't think this is, something that people will forget, and neither should they. But it doesn't really make us forget how strong and how fearless he was for the majority of his chess career. So no, I don't think his reputation gets tarnished exactly, but that is a good move. That is a good move I completely missed. I should still be better, but I will happily admit to completely missing this. No, people will not forget if he wins tomorrow. I don't think people will forget. But obviously, if he wins, he becomes the world champion. Well, not becomes, he retains the title, and he is playing the formula that was given to him. So yeah, winning actually takes precedence over everything else for sure. This is the world championship match, like. In the second half of the Amber Chronicles, in like books from 5 to 10, which are supposed to be really bad, and I haven't reread them in a while, but when I did read them, I thought they were still very, very good. I enjoyed those quite a lot, but obviously, I mean, I was maybe in my late teens, maybe in the early 20s. There is an episode where Corwin gets challenged I believe by a Prince of Chaos, one of the minor Princes of Chaos, to a duel. And I'm not entirely sure what he does there, but I think he does something, well, that is not, let's say, included in the dueling code, like maybe killing his horse and killing him whilst he falls off the horse. At least, I mean, he pulls a maneuver which the other guy did not expect, having issued a formal challenge. And then he says, "This is not the Olympics." So, I mean, this sentiment is not that Magnus is doing anything underhanded, so it's an overstated comparison anyway. But really, winning is what matters. This is the match for the title. Have I watched The Man in the High Castle? The thing is, Jon Snow, I read The Man in the High Castle, and and also, I'm very tempted to quote the review for The Man in the High Castle by a person I've been reading for years and years, first on LiveJournal and then on Facebook, who said, okay, I watched the first season of The Man in the High Castle, it's reasonably well done, and it's not a bad show at all, but to those who are considering watching it, I would say read a book, any book. And I think it sounds harsh, but it's kind of fair. I think it's very nice, but I prefer reading Philip K. Dick to most adaptations, and definitely I prefer reading Philip K. Dick to that adaptation. Do I think Magnus will play risky in a tie? I mean, he will. I mean, the same issues will sort of remain. He will still have to somehow go through the extremely solid opening repertoire that Fabi has. So that is not really going away. But I think he is likelier to get a game, that's for sure. And but once again, I don't know if that counts as riskier. There's a higher probability. There's a higher probability of sharp fights, or at least fights, than there is in a classical portion, simply because he can take more liberties in the opening phase, not really fearing Fabi's opening preparation that much. I don't think I have read City of Thieves. I have a feeling I've heard of it, but I have not read it, no. Would I support the 2022 World Chess Championship being held in Iceland, since it will be 50 years since the Spassky Fischer? It really isn't up to me, and I think nobody will object as long as the bid is good. It really these days, I mean, it's a as far as I know, this is the one part of you know, running the chess world which is seemingly working quite okay. At least, I mean, once again, I don't. Forsen is playing chess right now. Yeah, it's really bizarre, because like yesterday I logged in and Rekful was playing chess, and now Forsen is playing chess. What is happening? I really don't know what this new trend is. But yeah, returning to the Iceland idea, it's not a bad idea, but I mean, if they bid with a reasonable number, I think everybody will understand sort of the historic symbolism of it. But if the bid is just extremely low, you know, symbolism or not, nobody's going to be very interested. I will try to go for greed here, but actually, yeah, I don't like this move. I already kind of understand why I shouldn't be making this move. Because you can just take gf4. If he takes on g7, my point is that I can take on g3, like an intermediary capture on g3, which seems to be working. But if he just takes on f4 here, I don't think my going for full grid makes any sense whatsoever. How was d5? You would have to give me a move number, because I could have played d5 on a number of moves in this game. Yeah, we kind of covered that Kasparov tweet already, Johnny Bilov. I think it's an overstatement, but I do think that that draw for yesterday was indicative of something not being quite right with Magnus. And once again, honestly, we have no idea what that something might be. It's very hard to judge if it's you know, something very important or just some minor thing, or maybe he just feels he's such an overwhelming favorite in the tie breaks that he doesn't care. This is less clear than I thought when I was taking on f1, because if I take on e5, take on d3, f4, f5 is a very, very serious problem. I might still have to go for it, but yeah, it's a lot less clear than I would have wanted. But I think I probably can still do it. Maybe not. Huh. Yeah, what I was planning to do actually seems to be losing, maybe even. But I'll go for it anyway, because I think maybe I'm okay. No, you do not take with the king here. You take with the rook, and then my rook is hanging on gf7 with check is hanging, and there I think I may have been simply lost. Let's have a look at this for a second, because it's kind of important. If he takes with the rook, f7 is hanging, the rook is hanging, and I was planning to go rook d3 here, and if he takes with the pawn, I now control the bishop d6 check square, and this I think is fine. And then I realized that he can take with the rook here. And yeah, he should have at the very least a draw here. I think I have to play rook c6, because if I allow rook h7, I will get mated. So I play rook c6 here, attacking the pawn on g6, and probably after rook g7, king f8, he should have a draw. I think. Maybe not, I don't know. Difficult position to judge properly. Where's dodgy? This is very confusing. I will have to sort of make a statement, I guess, on the whole dodgy gate without dodgy being here, and that feels wrong. Could a possible format for future World Championship matches be like in tennis tiebreaks? One white, two blacks, then two whites, and so on. I'm not sure what that changes. I mean, it changes the dynamic a little bit. But you know, at the end of the day, you will still play six white games and 6 black games. So I'm not sure this is such a... there he is. My pesky kid needed to be picked up from school. Ruined my timing. Don't they all? Yeah, I appreciate how that can very easily happen, Dodgy. It's something I am reasonably familiar with. h6 is such a horrible move here, because if I play c5, I think I might be in actual trouble after something like queen b3. And queen b3 in general is just a very awkward threat now. I feel like, somewhat surprisingly, I have misplayed this opening quite badly by move 5, which is really not that easy. Okay. If I lose, I lose. I mean, queen b3, queen c8 looks kind of scary, but maybe I don't. I mean, maybe I survive there. 6 whites in a row. Okay, I mean, now you're just being silly. Nobody's going to agree to, you know, a 6 and 6 split, but some kind of an uneven split of whites and blacks. And yeah, I mean, I think I think I'm just more or less completely busted here. I don't know what I was even thinking. And going c5 was more or less suicidal. Yeah. That is just flat out horrible. You need to have bishop d7 here. You know, I was so proud of, you know, getting the bad bishop out so early. But it really isn't a bad bishop if you do it this way, because you know your other problems here are a lot more difficult to handle. Classical chess should be decided in a classical game, not rapid or blitz. No, I don't think it's that straightforward. You cannot really play, you know, timeless matches like the first Karpov-Kasparov match. This is just not something that can happen in the current climate. But, and also, I mean, that argument that Anish was making throughout yesterday's broadcast, that basically Magnus did not win a +5 position in game 1, and we are now, you know, bemoaning the demise of classical chess. When, you know, if he wins game 1, which is, you know, a normal kind of expected outcome from that game, from that position, like you take Magnus to convert that 9 times out of 10, I would say, then, you know, objectively maybe there's just no issue with the classical chess at all. And yeah, there is definitely an issue with what I'm doing here, because I think I'm just completely lost. There's no defense against e3, e4. Now I have to defend against b5 as well. And a sort of a macro issue here is that it's very difficult for me to get my pieces out of the corner. Draw odds for the challenger. Do you mean the challenger actually takes the title if the match is drawn? That feels wrong. Why would that be any good? Turn the candidates into a world championship. Yeah, the candidates clearly was the most exciting event. I mean, definitely more exciting than the match, and arguably maybe the most exciting chess event of 2018 so far. So some kind of a match tournament like the one we had in 1948 for, you know, entirely different reasons. Obviously, Alekhine died, so something had to be done because we did not have a world champion. I'm also losing on time. Yeah, I should either resign or actually start playing faster. But honestly, like, this is, you cannot save this position on this time. This is just completely impossible. Not without increment. And I actually have a, you know, a very reasonable position now, but it's just completely irrelevant because of just how much talking I've done earlier in the game. Yeah, I think just resigning is fine. Yeah, okay, I've now blundered the bishop on e3. And he didn't even take the bishop, but I mean, he's actually now completely winning, and I will lose on time. So yeah, you got me completely distracted by this whole formula talk. Draw odds for the champion, but 1 match a year would be better. I don't know. Honestly, I think if our options are giving somebody actual draw odds or having rapid tie breaks, I really don't think we should be fighting against the rapid tie breaks. I don't think this is the problem. I honestly don't. And I don't think there is such a huge problem in general. I think shortening the time control somewhat will solve most of it. And in general, what do I think about this? I used to remember, but what do I think about this? Yeah, I'm not sure about this move though, because now I think a5 is quite strong. Yeah, that was just a mistake. I might be just kind of much worse now. Yeah, I mean the point clearly is not to play b4 here. I just kind of blanked here for a second, and now I will pay for it. This is annoying because I kind of wanted to play a proper game against Schellingford. He's been I've lost some bad ones to him in the past, and I did not want to lose another one. And what I'm doing here, I mean, it should be just sort of very, very bad, but I honestly felt like this might be the best option I have. Yeah, I don't like any form of... Ah, yeah, okay, I don't know exactly what that means, dodgy. But yeah, I think Magnus himself is very much against receiving draws. I think he is kind of very much on the record saying that nobody should be getting draws in a match. And I can understand why, because it just feels weird. It's kind of going very far back and you know, neglecting all the you know, quote unquote progress we made. Yeah, why did I have to play b4 in that position? That is just like it completely ruined the game I kind of wanted to play. This is not that this is specifically a game I was looking forward to today, but that was a game I kind of wanted to play properly and see if I can maybe do something. I'm not sure I like f5 here though. I will actually get some compensation now. Not a lot, obviously. I'm still a full exchange down, but this now starts looking like some kind of a diagram from my system, with those, you know, really beautiful knights on e5 and d4 potentially. It's good for him that he can play bishop d7. Actually, yeah, he can play bishop d7. I thought maybe bishop takes h7 is strong and queen c2 check and then knight takes d7, but he has queen f5 in between there. So actually I don't think I should be doing that. I should be playing for positional compensation here and not try to win a meager pawn somewhere. Did I see the thing about the BBC reporting Kasparov as a former grandmaster? Well, I mean, MSM, and I really hate the term, but okay, MSM are kind of famous for, you know, getting all kinds of chess things completely wrong. So it's not really a surprise they've gotten this wrong as well. But yeah, it's extremely insulting, obviously. Bishop e8 is a normal move, but then I wanted to play queen c2 and ask the question, what do you want to do with the h7 pawn? Because if you play h6, you will now have to start calculating all kinds of bishop h7, bishop g6 shenanigans. If you play g6, the bishop no longer comes out to h5, and if you play queen h6, it kind of misplaces your queen quite significantly. This move I did not properly consider, because it feels counterintuitive to just give me this. I think I'll just take this pawn. I don't really see why I shouldn't. Ah, knight e5, knight c4. Yeah. That is quite relevant. Knight e5, knight c4, rook c5 is what I missed. originally when going for this. Means I now have to revise my plans. If he takes on e5, I have all kinds of jumps. I have knight e7 check, but it doesn't really do very much. But I also have knight f4, which might be more interesting. I can also try starting with rook e1 and waiting to see what he... Ah, no, knight e7 check actually wins there. Hang on a second. Why not fork on d7? It's because I missed it. But I now threaten knight e7 check, and it's a very, very strong threat, actually. Yeah. This is what I missed originally, but I just pick up the queen here. And yeah, this should be reasonably comfortably winning, I think, with my two passers. Yeah, I was saying it's not winning because it took me a while to spot knight h7 check. That's the reason, Bluesy. It took me an unreasonable amount of time to spot that I have knight h7 check in that position. Yeah, and I'm now ahead against Schellingford, which is good, and also somehow winning this. But I mean, f5 is just a completely wrong direction. I think you should be aiming to play b6 here, or just continue developing, and eventually you will win. But giving me this dominance over the bishop on c8 is just wrong. Kind of treading water in terms of my rating. It now feels very, very improbable that I was like 3K50 at one point, but maybe I can still get there one day. So how about the dodgy gate? Yeah, the dodgy gate is not really a gate. I badly misrepresented his age on air yesterday, apparently. I did not mean any insult by it. I am, 40-ish myself, and I think I'm in the prime of my life, Kappa. So it really wasn't meant as a slight, but Dodgy understandably took offense when I got his age wrong by about 10 years. and then we had a bit of a conversation on Twitter. Oh, it's a gate, says Dodgy. Yeah, I mean, it's a gate-ish. It's a gate light. What can I say? I really expected us to trade words during this entire banter, and I expected it to go like that. The thing I already alluded to, I think yesterday, the pirate duel in Monkey Island 1, and I thought of various ways we could do it sort of live on air, but parental responsibilities, which once again, how are you not 40-ish when I have to pick up kids from school? I'm very tempted to kind of stand by my statements, even though you probably know how old you are. But yeah, it's really Yeah, we should stop this one. It's really unclear to me how any of this works. But yeah, I expected to kind of trade long, barely known English words with Dodgy and seeing who blinks first, but none of that somehow came to pass. Force a draw, 84 says, who cares? That is a very, very risky statement in that chat room, force a draw. Because as you can see, we care deeply. Deeply. Peter, I hope you played Thimbleweed Park as a Monkey Island fan. I downloaded it and I started playing it and I realized I will have to start thinking, and that kind of put me off. But I will return to it. I will return to it for sure. I know I shouldn't, but I kind of endorse doubling down and refusing to accept it. Yeah, I think it's the correct play in my position, Dodgy. I think that's what I should be going for. Yeah, I wonder which side I'm supposed to be castling here. I think I castled... Yeah, also I don't know why I took on g7 so early. I think I castled kingside in that game against Luki I referenced in my recap. My favorite English comedy, that one is easy. That is kind of Faulty Towers above everything else. I'm not sure what goes second. Maybe specifically Blackadder goes fourth. Is the second one, but number one is extremely easy. Yeah, that's a bit annoying because like I think I'm supposed to play c4 here and just go for this endgame, but I don't really want to, but it's clearly the correct move, so I'm going to go with that. Knight d5, I don't know if I should maybe be stopping knight b6 d5. I think I should. Ruby Jr. is not Magnus Carlsen. And I can say that with certainty, simply judging by the way he plays. I don't mean this as a criticism, but I should not have gotten such a nice position. Also, I gave this speech about defending against knight d5, and then I allowed it on the next move, which is remarkably stupid. But I think remarkably stupid could be like the middle name for this show, so... who are we kidding? Nobody is surprised. Knight a4, yeah, I'm allowing all kinds of things I should not be allowing here, and he really should be taking this opportunity to get some pieces off the board. I'm probably still doing quite well here because I think I can start something on the king side, which is quite dangerous, but like if I play e5 first, I think f6 f5 is the correct response, which is why I started with f5. Do not let him close down too many things on the king side here. And that is sort of my intention here. f5 immediately followed by e5 against sort of most moves. I think the players should play Banter Blitz to get in the right mindset. I mean, it wouldn't be the worst idea in the world. I'm not sure Banter Blitz is ever the right mindset, says Dodgy. That is hurtful. That is very hurtful. No, it wasn't Monty Python, but I like exactly. Do you mean the TV series? Because like I'm a Life of Brian. I rewatched Life of Brian recently, and I enjoyed it greatly. And you know, the Quest for the Holy Grail is fantastic. But those are, I mean, it's a slightly different format to the TV series. No, I named Fawlty Towers as my #1 British comedy. I should be winning here somehow, like by force. But like Queen H6, Queen F8, Knight G5 is very aesthetically pleasing. Yeah, let's go for it simply, like on the basis of how nice it looks. I think my opponent decided I blundered a queen there. The speed with which he took on h6 in this position, I think, suggests he thought I blundered a queen in one move. Which is generally not true, I would say. All right. Yeah, I can take revenge on Mr. Championes, but we'll see. We'll see. Let's take a slightly lower rated challenge for a change. And maybe we can get a King's Gambit. No King's Gambit for me. There was this weird thing that people have been doing against me. But yeah, I'm very unlikely to get it, I think. It's just because in these banters in general, when I see knight c3 from a black side, I play a6 and I become sort of instantly worse. Yeah, and this is not a great line either. I'm trying to remember how you get to at least semi-playable positions here with white, and kind of struggling. But maybe I can switch to this weird queen d4, queen d2 idea that people have been doing recently, like b3, but here I'm not in time, right? Yeah, I'm just not in time to do anything here. There is this line here starting with bishop b5, followed by a6, e5, and so on, but I think it's just very good for black. I think maybe I can do it with this move order. Bring Giri and Grishuk to the banter with Sedratin would be the best idea. Yeah, I kind of endorse that, but first of all, finding Sedratin away from Corsica might be trickier than people think. And secondly, I have a feeling Anish just doesn't drink. Which would make the whole thing a lot more difficult logistically. What Russian movies, TV series do you recommend for someone who is learning Russian? Do not watch Russian TV. Whatever you do, do not watch Russian TV. Apart from maybe sort of old classical cartoons. But Russian movies, I can definitely recommend a number which are not crap. But yeah, stay as far away from Russian TV as possible. It's much better for your health if you never ever encounter it in your life. Yeah, let's go. No, I don't know why people freaked out so much about the way he held the cup in that photograph. It's like, don't you know any thermodynamics? He said on air that basically Sopiko brought him some tea after the first drink, which was not tea and was in fact a cold drink. She brought him, you know, some very nice tea, which was also, apart from being very nice, was extremely hot. And the bottom of the mug is about the only place on the mug which is not hot in that situation. So holding it like this is a way not to get burnt and still continue drinking what's in the cup. And yeah, people were overreacting like crazy over that picture. I want to watch Russian TV now. You really, really don't. Trust me on this, you really, really don't. I don't know about this knight f4 move. I wanted to play f4. I think it makes more sense positionally. But I got somehow spooked by the move queen f2, which probably makes no sense whatsoever. What is the purpose of the handle then? Yeah, that kind of, I mean, my theory kind of falls apart if somebody realizes it's possible to ask that question. So boring chess gets both a gold star and very scornful disapproval from me, because why do you need to poke holes in my pseudo-scientific explanation of why Anish did what he did? Yeah, holding the handle wouldn't exactly be a novelty in teacup holding. Yeah, we smart. Yeah, t.eazzy is a very nice movie. There is like late 70s, early 80s was a very, very good period for Russian movie making. Although there's probably a little bit too much singing in it to appeal to the modern audience, because I think that culture of sort of including songs in serious non-musical movies, it's completely gone now, apart from Bollywood. t.eazzy is great, and more or less anything by Rязанов is great. I mean, Baron Münchhausen or Ordinary Fairy Tale. I would need to search for the English names for those things, because obviously for me those are, I mean, I know the Russian names, but I don't really know the English names. Thank God for the death of singing in movies. Yeah, I don't disagree. I don't disagree. I'm suddenly doing quite well here because I managed to reposition my pieces so that they make some sense. I now have the c6 square for to aim my knight at. And actually f4 kind of wins a piece here, but I have a feeling knight c4 he might actually get quite decent counterplay. But I still, I find it very difficult to believe I should not be making that move anyway. Even if he does go knight c4, I mean, it just feels unbelievably stupid not to be collecting a full piece here. I don't think asking Peter to sing will get you anywhere. Well, not unless you can provide me with some drinking material as well. What is more likely, Peter singing or playing the Morar? That is a good question. I have a feeling singing is actually likelier of the two. I think he should have taken with the pawn, because now I'm very tempted to go rook e5, but he has bishop g7 in reply. Maybe I just shouldn't. Maybe I should just play a3 and play knight c6 next move. Yeah. No, I didn't say it's a good idea, me singing. I'm just saying it's more likely than me playing the Morar. Me singing on air is definitely not a good idea. But, yeah. You're putting me on the spot there. Can I play Lawrence once again? I'll have a look at the challenge list. I didn't see his name, but maybe it's there, I don't know. Is it there? Come on, Lawrence, own up. Because there's a ton of scrolling to check properly. Ah, okay, I know what I need to do. I finally found what I was looking for. This might be the final game of the banter, or maybe one more. Yeah, all the people saying I am ready. I suspect all of you were born ready as well. Come on, chess beauty. I gave my word, so you really should have expected this to be accepted. Why are you AFK? I will play Peter another day, and probably there will be PLO. Lawrence once bluffed me off a mid-size pot on the river. I still remember that, and I'm still disgusted at myself for folding there. Against Lawrence in particular, that was never a fold. And it was a very cheap call as well, so yeah, that memory haunts me. Oh no. Don't do this to me. Yes, you did, Lawrence. I had trips and we kind of checked it down to the river, and on the river trips are very, very far from first nuts. And I decided to get some value and you like min-raised me. And I tanked for a bit and folded. And yeah, you showed me air, as you were supposed to show me air there, I think. I also don't know very much about this. Like I have a feeling if white goes bishop c6 so early, I'm not supposed to play b6, bishop b7, but I generally just like the idea of actually studying the Alapin annoys me. Please don't embarrass yourself by trying to use poker terms incorrectly. You won the pot, be satisfied with that. Yeah, I think it's time for me to take on d4 because I'm not really getting much of anywhere maintaining the tension there. And he, I mean, not he, she might eventually actually take on c5 herself if... What do I think about the under 16 Olympiad? I did not think that, I did not know that was a thing, honestly. I only became aware of it randomly very, very recently. It's an interesting concept, and you know, I'm all for sort of more and more varied junior tournaments. I think junior tournaments are good. I am not a nit. That's like, of all the things Lawrence ever said to me in my life, that is arguably maybe the most insulting. I am not a nit. I'm also much worse here because I wanted to play bishop b4 in this position, but bishop g5 is just very, very strong. So I don't actually know what I'm supposed to do here, because obviously d6 is kind of a life-threatening thing, and bishop b4, bishop g5, I don't really have a good square for the queen. I'm also constantly being bombarded by opponent disconnected, which is making me worry. This might lose, but I want to try because nothing else really makes any sense. Yeah, it probably does lose, and I can sort of even see why it loses now. Yeah, this is a tremendously stupid idea. What am I doing here? Yeah, this is unbelievably stupid. Like, I probably just flat out get mated if I do what I was planning to do. But I don't think there's any turning back. Maybe I don't get mated, but like by rights, it feels like I should be getting mated here. It will come as a great surprise if there is no mate in this position. No, this is something I wasn't very worried about. No, I mean, I'm not putting myself on the subject that Lawrence continues insisting to discuss. I'm not putting myself anywhere near the category of Sasha. Obviously, Sasha is very, very good, but I am still better than Lawrence. No, the thing I was worried about is simply knight e4 here, followed by knight f6 check. And with all of my pieces on the queen side, I had a feeling this must just be mate. And now I think my pieces just come out and I'm fine. Haha, says Lawrence. Haha indeed. Haha is right. I am very helped by the fact that the knight cannot jump to e5 here because the pawn on g2 is hanging. So she will have to go knight e1. And now I can just go king h8 and 10k hands heads up. You know, I'm a retired poker player by this point, but like, make it high enough and I will become interested. Studying Grishuk's games is, I think, a decent idea on a different subject there that popped up in chat. Grishuk is definitely one of the modern greats. Very, very strong player. So why wouldn't studying his games be a good idea? Oh, phoning backers. Yeah, you do that, Lawrence. You do that. Yeah, it feels slightly dangerous, but in fact, as long as I don't blunder mate in one somewhere, I should be in reasonably full control here. The second rook comes to g8, and the bishop on b7 is just so much better than this bishop on h4. Sasha versus polborta Banter Poker. We played some heads up. I think we played during some Olympic camps. We played like 10 game heads up. I got absolutely destroyed. In particular, the devil game that is Badugi was very, very... did not go well for me, is what I'm trying to say. But in general, I think choosing 10 game was a mistake. I mean, 8 game, anything without Badugi, I would have had a better chance. Not a good chance, but a better chance anyway. And I think now I am winning the h4 bishop, actually. Or obviously the... Hang on a second, is this a... Oh! Okay. That is annoying, because obviously that's just a misclick. I wanted to put it back on h5 and I didn't manage to put it back on h5 here. Yeah, that's kind of annoying. The issue with this move is that she can play queen h6 check, and I became worried it might be a perpetual, but it's just not a perpetual, right? I go king e8 here, and I win. Basically, I was trying to put it back on the square it started from and calculate before I take on d1. And yeah, and it got released on h6. Which is, I mean, fair is fair. We are playing on the internet. Misclicks do happen, but yeah, the intention was not to play queen h6 in this position, I will say. I will say this much. Yeah, this kind of forces me to play one more. Because I think it was a... Let's have a look at that other thing that I was mentioning. If she goes knight e4 here, for instance, if I take on e1, I think maybe even the immediate knight f6, gf, bishop f6 might be mate. Because there is... I will be surprised if there is any kind of adequate defense against queen c1, queen h6. And yeah, I'm pretty sure this should be mate. So I was choosing between taking on d5 with the pawn to at least have the e6 square for the queen, but I have a feeling I should be losing here. And my other option was what I was actually planning to do when she did not play the move, was bishop takes d5, knight f6, gf, bishop f6 and bishop e7. With the intention of meeting queen d2 by takes, and now at least I have the h8 square for the king. But once again, like, if I don't get mated here, it feels like I'm very, very lucky and somewhat undeserving. Because, yeah, you should not be playing this opening in this way. Queen h6 though. Why did that have to happen? Maybe bishop f6 works before knight e4. That also is a reasonably decent suggestion, Nemanja. But we are kind of past it, so we'll not return to that question. But yeah, I mean, clearly I am on the verge of getting mated by force in that position, and I was extremely scared. Positional sacrifice, no. No. Just a 42-year-old man who still doesn't know how the mouse works. Yeah, I once again played a game against her in which I was blundering my pieces away. I think that's fair. But I mean, I played fine up to that point, and then I just, yeah, couldn't handle the pressure, obviously. I used to play this variation a lot with white when I was younger. And it's not a lot, but it definitely gives white, you know, a little bit of something. And also, kind of relevantly, I have no idea what I'm doing here with black. It's clearly sort of not my patch. I will be putting pieces on wrong squares, trading the wrong pairs of pieces, and so on. And yeah, it's really not the best choice of an opening to play if you're playing for a win, which I am, sort of. It's not great. It's not a great line, but it's a perfectly playable line, is what I mean. It's not like you know, black is trying to be better, but I think, you know, as let's say knight d2 Tarrasch French positions go, this one is acceptable. I'm not trying to claim black is immediately equal, or God forbid that black is better, but he should not be suffering very much. And now actually I think I'm doing perfectly fine, because that was the one variation I kind of calculated, that I have this bishop d6 move here, which connects my pieces and forces him into unfortunate decisions like this move f4, which I think is the correct move, but I think it's rather clear that white is no longer really better if he has to do this. EF is the most obvious move in the position, but I'm trying to look for alternatives because EF is kind of boring. But maybe I just have to. Yeah, okay, let's go. I missed queen d5. That's a bad move. That is a bad move. I might actually have to play queen c6 here. And the problem is I would like to go rook a d8, but then he takes on e4, I take on h2, he takes on h2, I take the queen, and I get mated on the back rank. And yeah, that's completely unacceptable. So yeah, I have a feeling I actually have to play queen c6 here, which is very sad. I'm not much worse in this endgame, but once again, sort of not your ideal way of playing for a win in the final game of the Banter. Also, I kind of missed knight g2 here, and I might be worse. I maybe should have started with a5 or a6. I don't know if I should be putting my pawns on the dark squares. Yeah, I'm perfectly fine here, but once again, I don't know how I can play this for a win, you know, convincingly. It's just not that kind of a position. The one thing that kind of works in my favor here is that my opponent is refusing to play knight g2, which gives me sort of additional options. He has rook a5. Well, okay. Ah, yeah, I missed. I could have taken. Oh, yeah, okay. We're both completely blind. Obviously, rook takes a1 was winning like everything there. But I freaked out so much when I saw what he was doing that I just decided not to collect like the entire material. And this, I think we can sort of demonstrate like total dominance over these two pieces over the knight. It's actually kind of possible to isolate it and collect it. Okay. I start to question Peter's preparation. Yeah, I think there is never a bad time to start questioning Peter's preparation. I think it's always a very safe bet to question what I'm doing in terms of preparing. Anyway, I think this concludes the business for today. I feel like I'm already blundering way too many things in these games, and I need to preserve at least some mental faculties for the show tomorrow. Tomorrow starts, probably it will be announced, but probably starts about an hour prior to the start of the tiebreak, with the warm-up Blitz session, Sasha versus the Hamburg studios, and then we will be here for the entire day. It should be a long day by rides, covering the 4 rapids and potentially Blitz after that. So make sure to tune in tomorrow. Tomorrow promises to be a very exciting day. And yeah, thanks for watching. And for those of you who are unaware, go watch the talented youngster on Twitch. Maybe somebody can put the link in chat. Maybe I can put the link in chat, but I don't know. I don't know the link off the top of my head, but Dodgy is a rare case of somebody who streams chess, and I mean, I don't watch very much chess on Twitch, but I do watch Dodgy occasionally, mainly to troll him, of course, but also because it's fun. Anyway, once again, thanks for watching, and see you all tomorrow.